that, this is Diane Sears again with Go for the Greens, and I'd like to introduce our special guest, Tonja Graham, who is from Duke Energy. And Tanja, if you can please tell us about yourself and tell us what you do at Duke and how long you've been there.
Welcome everyone, and thank you to the Go for the Greens mean team. I am so excited and honored to be a guest on the weekly dynamic webinar series. We have been a proud supporter and sponsor for Go for the Greens since day one. They do a fantastic, phenomenal job of supporting women-owned businesses, educating them, just a really great program, and we're truly advocates for Go for the Greens. If you're not a member, I'm throwing a plug. I would say definitely consider joining them. We have definitely engaged and have done business with their dynamic women-owned businesses network. So I'll introduce myself. Short introduction. I've been with Duke Energy for 24 years, and I am currently the Supplier Diversity Manager, one of four, and we have a mighty team of four. Myself, I have two colleagues in Carolina, Andrew Greer and Brian Homestead, and then I have a phenomenal colleague in the Midwest, Bernice Walker, and I represent Florida, and I manage what we call our Tier 2 program, and I'm just an advocate to recruit diverse suppliers, wear many hats. I do a lot in the community. That is, I would say, a hobby and something I love to do. I love to help out, volunteer, and just really help diverse businesses grow and leverage and share information. Whether if you do business with Duke Energy or not, I want to assist you, and maybe you can do business with our prime suppliers or my other colleagues that I engage with. I'm a mother of three. I'm married. I'm a graduate of UCF. Go Knights.
All right, go Knights. I'm a Gator, but I'm also a big Knights fan. So living here in Orlando, Tanja and I are both in Orlando, and so is Layla. So, yeah. So wonderful. So Tanja, thank you so much for joining us today. What we want to know about is what's happening right now with supplier diversity at Duke, especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're going to talk about that some, and then really about what you need there and what you're looking for, and how our diverse suppliers can get in to do business with you, or can at least maybe have some conversations with you or with Layla or with each other. So tell us right now what your organization is looking for from suppliers. What's really hot on your list?
Well, I want to say that we are still doing business. So far, we have not had to really put a halt on some of our major work that we do, our core competency work, which is construction, modernizing our grid, cybersecurity, other things that we are working on. So we are still doing our regular business. From a COVID-19 standpoint, we definitely are engaging local and diverse suppliers to provide personal protective equipment for our employees. We are going to be returning to work, and also we want to possibly be able to spread or maybe donate some items to different community organizations that are locally within our organization and where we do business. And so the equipment is going to be definitely something I will share with you. I will share this information in more details with Go for the Greens, but we are looking for masks. Let me tell you one particular mask that we're looking for. We are looking for your regular reusable mask and your N95s and your surgical mask, but one mask in particular as innovation is for those with hearing disability. We need a mask where there is a cutout for the mouth so that the person that has a hearing disability will be able to read lips. So that is something interesting. I definitely want to point that out. We do need nitrile gloves, or we're looking for suppliers who can provide nitrile gloves, hand sanitizer. We're looking for gowns to a certain extent. We're looking for gowns. And there are a couple of others, and I apologize, I was having computer issues. I didn't print out the whole list, but I will share it with Diane and Nancy and Cindy and the whole team.
Okay.
So hopefully I can send that to you before everything ends. You can see a list of what we're looking for.
Okay, good. I do see Bernice Walker, and I'm going to admit her as a, and ask her to start her video. Is this now a good time?
Yes. Yes, please let her in. And she probably has the list of things that we're looking for COVID-19.
Okay. So Bernice, I'm inviting you to come on and share your video with us. And then Tanja, let us know when you'd like to get started on your
presentation.
presentation.
I just saw a question pop up. Now, when I said that there needs to be an open opening or a see-through, so it's not that it would need to be protective. So we're looking at innovation. So just to be clear, the cutout needs to be something clear but also safe at the same time, so that everyone is protected.
Okay. Okay, good. So Bernice, I know Bernice is on, but I'm not sure. I'm asking her to start her video, so we can chat with her later. My next question from you is, what kinds of communication channels have you had to change in light of COVID-19 with your suppliers? What have you been doing differently to communicate with suppliers?
I actually have been doing, instead of just a regular conference call, the suppliers, we're actually doing Zoom calls. And I guess it's definitely because of COVID-19, you've got the suppliers that have or have invested in the Zoom technology and Teams and different resources. So, and the communication has been great. I've actually done more communications working from home. I'm able to have some time to actually really sit down and do some follow-up calls, some check-in calls with the suppliers. Nothing differently. I've always engaged with the suppliers. What's different is being able to have a face-to-face conference call and being able to see one another. So that's what's changed, and I quite enjoy it.
Good. We're hearing that from all of our people who are in supplier diversity, that we all miss traveling and seeing each other at all the conferences like the WeBank and the Women Presidents Organization and all the other conferences we go to, and MSDC and yeah. So, but we're really enjoying talking to each other on video as well. So, good. Well, with that, why don't we get started on your presentation? Would you mind?
Yes, I'm definitely ready for the presentation.
So Nancy Allen, if you would share your screen with us, you have the presentation.
And while Nancy is getting the presentation in slideshow format,
right?
I'm really wanting to definitely share this information and do a deep dive on how to do business with Duke. So, the 4 takeaways is definitely who we are, what we do, the challenges we face, and opportunities that are available because of those challenges.
Okay.
So I've been in several meetings and supporting different advocacy groups, and there are definitely COVID buzzwords that are going around. And I definitely am going to recite a couple of them. And I want all of the members to think about those buzzwords and how they're going to leverage their business. Moving forward with a new normal. Basically, that is a buzzword, and the new normal, I want you to think about the next normal. as you're looking at your business is what's going to happen next. And one of the things that I say is that we cannot go back and we cannot turn around. The world has changed and things have changed in how you and I will do business. So, or the corporations will do business. So think about, when you're thinking about your business and you're pivoting, think about the next normal. Also, lockdown is a buzzword. So now what you should be thinking about when that buzzword lockdown is, okay, well, what happens when everyone starts to go back to work? So everybody's locked down, everybody's working from home. However, there's probably some companies that, okay, see a cost savings. What can you do to offer things remotely to continue that remote connection and relationship and to cut some costs from traveling? What are things that are going to be needed when a large corporation is trying to get their work from home group to go back to the new normal? So think about that. Social distancing definitely is a buzzword. How can you support? So how can you support the corporations to continue to practice social distancing? And then, of course, I mentioned the work from home, and then how can you support the return to work? So the new normal, I think, is an opportunity to elevate ourselves within our company and within your company. And it also presents an opportunity to challenge our partners to move forward in the supplier diversity space. So I did want to just kind of point that out and what you can do with your business in the new normal.
Great.
Next slide. I love a couple of the things that I've been hearing and would like for the MBE, the WBEs to take these away and to really think about them. So these are some things that really stuck with me. In one webinar that I attended, one of the speakers or presenters said, a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. We do know the quote about a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I did not think about a crisis as a terrible thing to waste. So it's really great. So we're in a crisis right now, but let's not waste it. Let's not give up. Let's think about, and I think our women-owned businesses, our diverse businesses are doing a great job pivoting and innovating, and our advocacy groups. So definitely don't let this crisis be a waste. This is a quote that came from our wonderful CPO, Melody Birmingham, Chief Procurement Officer. She says that what she learned, that if necessity is the mother of invention, then desperation is the father of innovation. And we definitely have been in a desperate situation in trying to secure the needed PPE and everything to keep our employees safe. And I'm sure others have been as well. So we're in a tailspin to get what we needed to keep our employees safe. So there was out of this, the desperation led to some awesome innovative things that we've done within our supply chain. And one of the things also from our Chief Procurement Officer was an important mission and a shared purpose drives collaboration. And there is an important mission. We all have this shared purpose to be safe and to get through this and to make sure that our small businesses who really drive this economy stay in business. So we are supporting our advocacy groups. We want to see the collaboration, and we have seen the collaborations like never before. So make sure you're collaborating business to business, right, that you're getting resources. There's so many resources. There's so many free opportunities. I'll have you go to the next slide. What I do want to, when I say free, and it's something that I've shared with my advocacy groups and I'll share today, is that on one of the webinars, Ariba, SAP Ariba is offering a free service, and it ends on June the 30th for suppliers. And basically, sapdiscovery.com is a platform that typically will cost money for you to join, but it's a platform and a tool where buyers and corporations go in to select suppliers to purchase from and to include in bid events. And so they're offering for you to go in, sign up, register for free, right. And the corporations and the suppliers will pull your NAICS codes. And if it fits what they're buying, they're either going to present you an offer or they're going to include you in bid events. That's free. There's no reason no one should not be joining that. It gives you the experience to see if it's something that you want to invest in the future. That is still available, and it goes through June the 30th.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
Could you go back one slide? I'm gonna, I know we're pressed for time, so I'm gonna get through this. I think I'm missing a slide, number two. I think I am missing a slide. So go to the next slide again. Let's see what's on that. Okay, so I will start with this. Duke Energy is a regulated operation, and we have several subsidiaries. We have more than 28,000 Duke Energy employees, and we serve about 7.2 million customers in 6 states. Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. We also have gas operations, Piedmont Natural Gas in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. Duke Energy, Midwest Ohio, and Kentucky, Greater Cincinnati. The Duke Energy Carolinas actually consist of Western North Carolina and South Carolina. Duke Energy Progress is Eastern North Carolina and South Carolina, plus it includes Asheville in North Carolina. Duke Energy Florida definitely is Orlando, Tampa to the Panhandle. Duke Energy Ohio, Kentucky is the Greater Cincinnati area. Duke Energy in Indiana is the largest utility in the state of Indiana. And Piedmont Natural Gas covers Carolinas and also Tennessee. Next slide. Next slide is our renewable projects, one of the fastest growing parts of our business. We have a strong demand for clean energy and building a smart energy future. One thing you should know is we recruit Google and Facebook to our service territory by offering renewable energy. It's actually a requirement of theirs. AT&T required renewable energy in large operating centers out west. Building a solar project at Florida AMU University, aka FAMU University in Tallahassee. It is a historically Black college and university, and we're very excited about that project. The opportunities for renewable projects include construction, maintenance, vegetation management, and substation installations.
So construction, maintenance, vegetarian, what was that, vegetation?
Vegetation management.
Uh-huh.
And substation installations.
Okay, I'm typing these into the chat for the people watching, but those who are on the phone will definitely want to hear that. Okay.
And vegetation is lawns, landscaping.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good. This is helpful. Now, Tanja, what were you saying about Google and
Facebook?
Yes, and Facebook.
Yeah. So one of the things that we try to do is when we recruit them to come to our service territory through our economic development organization, we do offer renewable energy. That's a part of our package, saying, hey, come to our service territory, and then we let them know that we are able to offer solar. We can build solar, we can build you wind, and we can do battery storage.
Okay, thank you. This is good. So, so what's next?
Next is the good part, corporate responsibility.
Okay.
Corporate responsibility. This is the good part for sure. 1.6, we have spent 1.6 billion with diverse suppliers, as you can see on the slide. And that diverse is minorities, women, veteran, and hub zone. And I would like to say that in 2019, our spend with women business enterprises was $677 million.
Wow, that's great. That's phenomenal.
Yes, and I definitely am so excited to share that. In 2018, it was 403 million, so there was a 60% growth over last year.
Wow, okay.
So we're committed, we're definitely committed to our women WBEs. Also, another proud thing that I'd like to say is for 5 consecutive years of diverse spend, we've had greater than $1 billion. So we've created a milestone of 1.6 for 2019, and definitely we've been doing it for 5 consecutive years.
So 677 million in 2019.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that was 2018. You had 403 million.
Yes.
Those are great numbers. Thank you. Okay.
We're so proud of those numbers. We're definitely committed to our women-owned businesses. The bidding process at Duke Energy includes the 3 criteria that make up corporate responsibility. Points are awarded if a company is diverse. And then they also are awarded if a non-diverse company has a plan to use diverse suppliers.
Okay. So in other words, the tier 1, your tier 1 suppliers taking on a tier 2 supplier that is a diverse supplier, women-owned business or diversity business. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So when they're presenting their bid, those are under the corporate responsibility. And so we're asking if a supplier is diverse or not. And they get, a score if they're diverse. And then if they're not diverse, we score them based on, like you said, their subcontracting plan to use diverse suppliers.
Okay.
And so that's the supplier diversity piece of inclusion of diverse suppliers. The next one is local economic impact. As you can see on the slide, Duke spent $4.9 billion with local suppliers. That means companies that are headquartered, located in one of the 7 states of our regulated operations. We also look at crews hired from the state in which the work is taking place. And then we look at, are there materials and equipment manufactured or assembled in the state?
Okay. So you're looking at your local spend as well as your diverse spend.
Absolutely. And there's many local diverse suppliers, so there's going to be some overlap there. So we absolutely want to make sure that we are creating economic impact in the communities that we serve.
So in other words, well, this you will use people who are suppliers who are outside of those 7 states or those coverage areas, but you look for some that are within the local areas as well.
Oh, absolutely. And again, like I said, this is the scoring. So there's of course, a higher score if, a supplier is local, and also if they're using local suppliers on the project.
Okay, that's really great. We are having some questions come in, so I just want to let people know that we will get to your questions. I wanted to make sure we get through the presentation.
Yeah, I'm going to whip through it too, so that we can get to the questions. I don't want time to run out. Okay, environmental stewardship, which is sustainable practices. We're so proud to have this as a part of our corporate responsibility. And it's just environmental stewardship. So we're looking at suppliers with environmentally responsible operations, products, and services. So for example, are you using less water, less toxic chemicals that may impact employees and customers and suppliers? Are you recycling? Are you making energy efficiency upgrades to your building or your facility? So those are things that we look at. Is your building LEED certified? You know, we actually are looking at suppliers. If you want to do business with us and you're included in the bid, we're looking to see what your, you know, are you being an environmental steward?
Great. Okay. Green business practices. So I'm typing into the chat here that you look for supplier diversity, local economic impact where you're located, and green business practices.
Right. And so that's a part of our bid evaluation. The other two parts are commercial and your technical capabilities.
Of course. Of course. Of course. You have to be good at what you do, number one.
Exactly. And when you complete the bids, you want to make sure that you are doing them in a timely manner. They have to be on time and provide ideas and things that you know that will improve our existing process, and anything that will save time and money.
Okay. Okay, very good. Okay. Good. Normally Nancy types in these notes for us, and she is sharing her screen with us today. So Nancy, I'm taking over your duties in case you can't tell.
My colleague Bernice, and Bernice, I'm happy for you to interject if I've left out something, but she did send something that I needed to clarify about the states.
Okay. Good, good.
Do you see that? She had a comment about.
Oh, Bernice did. Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay. She said, Bernice said, Delinda, local for Duke Energy is by state. Okay, so Delinda Rabinowitz was asking, what do you consider local? Is that city, county, or state? And so Bernice was saying that is by state. State impact.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. Teamwork. Yeah, our 7 states that I mentioned to you earlier.
Great.
So next slide, let's talk about moving forward. How do you move forward with Duke? And then how do we deliver results the right way? So what we look at when we're doing business is we definitely have to, and something that all the suppliers should know, we look at our stakeholders' expectations. When you want to do business with us, you've got to look at what does their customers need. Customers are our first priority. Without the customers, we don't have a business.
Right.
What do our regulators need? What does the community need? And what do our investors want? And what they want is low cost. Our customers want greater control of their bills, clean energy, environmental stewards, return on investment, operational excellence, employment opportunities, local and diverse business opportunities.
Okay, so what do your customers need? What do the regulators need? What do the investors expect? It seems like there was one more.
No, that's right, the community.
The community, okay, what, right.
I think that's something that probably is not looked at, but you know, the communities we serve are very important.
Right.
And so if you come and you're doing business with Duke, then we want you to leave the community better than what you found it.
Great. Okay, that makes sense. Good.
So
okay.
Let's get to the expectations moving forward. So safety is it's one of the, it's the top on the list. And for most of the women-owned businesses here, the work may not necessarily be where they have to go and do a safety questionnaire or join our safety team. Not safety team, but our VETA tool. So, but I think it's very important, though, that you know that if you're trying to make a good impression, if you ever meet with, say, as an advocate, we set you up with a meeting with our procurement and our sourcing team. If you start the meeting with a safety moment, you're going to impress them. We start every meeting with safety, internal and external. And that's just a little, just a great tip. But the safeties for contractors performing like hands-on work with environmental, health, or safety risks, there is a environmental health survey, EHS, vetting, which is done through a tool called a VETA. That tool, there is a cost to the contractor for signing up for this, and it involves providing your OSHA logs and company safety procedures. Now, if you're not actually doing business with Duke, you really don't go and sign up for a VETA. But just keep in mind that is a tool that we use should you have an opportunity and you're doing anything with environmental health or safety risk, then just know that you want to be familiar with it.
How do you spell that?
A-V-E-T-T-A, a VETA.
Okay.
A lot of times, most of the work may not be direct with Duke. It may be, and it's not B as in Bob, it's B as in Victor. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
And so you may go through, and there may be more opportunity for the crowd here to do work with our prime suppliers, and they use their own safety ratings and tools.
Okay, right.
So it may not necessarily be a VETA. Maybe it's just a questionnaire. But either way, be prepared.
Okay, right.
Competitive, you definitely have got to be competitive. Outstanding performance, innovation, and I put here, we want you to be risk adverse. And that's from your operations, that's your financials, and what I did not put here is that is also your IT infrastructure.
Okay.
So cybersecurity is a very huge and a big deal, close to the safety for anyone that is going to be doing any work involving network connectivity or access to Duke Energy confidential information. Yes. So just so you know, if you want to do business with us, there is a thorough cybersecurity review process to ensure cybersecurity hygiene of the service provider.
Okay, that's very good. All right, we might have some more questions coming about that too. Okay.
So there, yeah, so that there, like I said, there is a questionnaire where we're going to ask about your IT infrastructure as a part of doing business with Duke.
Okay. Okay, very good.
And of course, I have to mention a few other things. And I was at FSU with Nancy, and she had an event that I participated in. And it's so applicable right now. And anyone that attended that event, I had mentioned the being risk adverse was making sure that you had a contingency plan. And I asked the ladies, you know, the women, I said, raise your hand if you have a contingency plan. And I was so great and so surprised that a majority of them did raise their hand. And basically the contingency plan is needed in situations, definitely for Duke, if there is an emergency situation that occurs. We need to make sure that you have a plan to continue to do business with us even in an emergency situation. And at that time, we were talking about catastrophe, storms, floods, different things like that.
Right.
Hurricanes, tornadoes. So we don't want you to say, my building is flooded or my lights are off and I cannot provide this service to you.
Right.
That's a sure way to fail. So it is so apropos right now. And the buzzword, another buzzword that I want to throw out is business continuity plans.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know if Go for the Greens or Nancy's group has something coming up. I'm certainly not the expert on business continuity plans, but I think it's for the next normal. We did not expect this type of catastrophe or crisis, and not even the corporations did. So don't feel bad. But definitely now we know of a different type of crisis that could hit. And so make sure that you have a business continuity plan in place. And that definitely, like I said, if you're in front of a decision maker and you're sending your capability statement, that always looks important that you can talk about, hey, we have a contingency plan, we have a business continuity plan to support your business in disasters or emergencies.
What a great topic, Tanja. I have to tell you that I was delighted to see that for the Go for the Greens event in September, the one we'll have on site, that is front and center. That's one of the top topics that our programs chair and her team came up with for this year. So we're really excited about that. Business continuity plans. Yep.
You guys are always ahead of the curve. It's so great.
You.
Like I said, you do
we
a
would have
great
done
job.
it last year. That would have been ahead of the curve.
But you know, it was on the slate for this year, so it's coming. So I definitely would recommend the Go for the Greens event. Duke Energy attends every year. We sponsor, and it's a phenomenal event, and all the great large corporations are there to meet with you.
You have been with us all 13 years. That's right.
From the beginning. Yes, we're proud of that. Positioning your company to win. You right now more than ever, you've got to build relationships. Now, this is where you definitely want to go back to the basics and pull out your Rolodex and start making calls and building those relationships. You need to get in touch with every advocate, every resource possible. Submit quality bids, of course, exceed performance expectations, update your websites. So important to have your websites updated. I know it can be tedious, it may even be costly, but there's resources out there available that's not costly to get your websites updated. I cannot tell you how many times I've submitted a supplier and with their capability statement, but our procurement and sourcing teams go straight to the website. And if that website does not tell them that you fit what they need, they're not going to consider you. It also needs to be accessible. It also, and like I said, it needs to be updated with your accolades, any rewards you've received, and any pertinent information that you know will impress a corporation.
Right. Okay.
And I just want to give a shout out to Nancy. Nancy, I think, is the best guru for the capability statements. Oh my gosh. That is what we ask for immediately, is that capability statement. And we want it to be a one-pager, and we want it to have the pertinent necessary information. Attention span is not that great. We're so busy. And so it's got to be a power punch, one pager.
So true. And so most of you, well, some of you who are on the call know that Nancy presented about 2 weeks ago, and you can find that in our YouTube channel. The whole presentation is there, and it's also available on the WeBEC Florida website. So
yeah, I thought it was wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
If the folks that are here do not go and look at that, shame on you. That's a phenomenal resource.
All right.
The other thing is definitely understanding Duke Energy, utility, industry, what's our direction, issues, solution, and innovation. Now, we'll point out here that when you come to any of us, when we talk about communication, whether you meet us one-on-one, you're doing the matchmakers, maybe you meet one of our leaderships, you definitely have got to do your research and understand what we do, which is today you're learning, which is great. This is one of the platforms that you can learn what we do, what direction we're heading, the issues that we're facing, the solutions and the innovations. I might not have time to explain that all to you. I would, my expectation and others expect for you to have done your homework. And when you come, that you say, this is how my business can help Duke Energy. We are doing this process with another utility, and we have saved them costs, and just those things go a long way. Get to the point of how you can help and support to support us and come with solutions as well. There is also another pet peeve of mine, and it's just my pet peeve, and don't get mad at me, and that is I am not a IT guru. Like all the different things that you're doing around, automation maybe, or those IT terms, or maybe you're doing consultant work for different things. Definitely make sure you know your audience and who you're speaking with. I'm not a procurement person. I'm not in IT. I'm a supplier diversity advocate and recruiter. And so I need you to explain to me how, in layman's terms, how you can help and assist Duke Energy.
And I'm typing in, keep the jargon to a minimum.
Yes. Don't complicate it. Because if I don't know what you do, then I'm not going to be able to share it with the decision maker.
True.
If I can't explain it.
That's right. That's good advice for every day. Oh, fun. Good. We do have some more questions coming in, so this is good.
Okay, next slide. Okay, moving forward, how to deliver results the right way. So I guess I pretty much went over that. So I think what I was going to do on that slide was talk more about the things that I just talked about. So we can move on to the next slide. Oh, well, I'm sorry, it's fancy. So Duke Energy utilizes objective, we talked about this, bid criteria to select the best value bidder. Through qualitative and quantitative analysis, the evaluation criteria are typically grouped in 3 separate categories. We talked about it: technical, commercial, and corporate responsibility. And we talked about risk. We look at risk, financials, IT infrastructure. I did not mention this, but reputation and brand. And then we talked about contingency plan. Reputation and brand, you're probably like, what? We are not going to want to do business with a company that has a bad reputation.
Right.
Or a bad brand. So if you were in a newspaper for dumping materials in a lake or somewhere that it shouldn't have been, and you're doing business with us, you damage our reputation and brand. Yes, it's your company, but you're doing work for Duke Energy.
Right, exactly. That's so key.
So make sure that you protect and keep your reputation and brand, and also brag about it. Hey, I got a great reputation. I've got a great brand. Brag about it.
Okay.
Next slide. Oh, my team. I want you to see my team in person. And so before I go into that, I want to let you know that our commitment to supplier diversity really starts with our CEO, Lynn Good. Now, her picture isn't up there just yet, but our new Chief Procurement Officer that was named 2 years ago, Melody Birmingham, that's her picture. I do want to brag on her. She is a phenomenal Chief Procurement Officer. She is committed to supplier diversity and inclusion. She's an advocate. She's a supporter of supplier diversity and inclusion. And she has just been, just done wonderful things for our group. So she was named by Lynn 2 years ago, and she was named by Black Enterprise as the most powerful, one of the most powerful women. She manages over 13 billion annual spend for the company and has led T&D operations in the past. And she recently served as state president for Indiana before taking on this role. She has also worked for GM and electric utility Exelon, where she led Supplier Diversity Initiative. So she's not new to this. And we're just so very proud of our Chief Procurement Officer. I will let you know that we actually meet with her on a monthly basis, wow, which is just phenomenal. That's really good. She wants to know what's going on, any needs that we have, and how she can help. And it's just been just great. But from left to right, we have Bernice Walker. She manages supplier diversity for Midwest. And she owns our relationship with our Ohio and Mid-State councils and other regions and organizations.
Oh, and hi, Bernice. Bernice is on the webinar too, so that's good.
And then that's me, Tanja Graham. And I told you I manage supply diversity externally for Florida market. I do serve on the board of the Florida State SDC. I also am the chairperson for the Supplier Diversity Corporate Roundtable. That's through the FSMSDC, another wonderful, great organization. I'm also responsible for supplier diversity for our groups and major projects and enterprise requirements. And I forgot to mention that Bernice actually supports our generation, which is nuclear, fossil, and hydro, and she also supports gas operations and with PNG and Duke Energy Gas in the greater Cincinnati area.
Okay.
Next to me is Brian Umstead. Brian Umstead is our supplier engagement manager, and he's responsible for relationship with our most critical suppliers. That extends to ensuring diverse suppliers have subcontracting opportunities with our large prime suppliers. And Andrew Greer is our transmission and distribution operation. He supports that team from the plant to the customer and renew. He also supports wind, our solar and renewables.
And if you could tell me again, your Chief Procurement Officer, what's her name?
Melody Birmingham.
Melody Birmingham. I'm not sure if I'll get the spelling correct, but asking in the, okay, there we go.
Birmingham. And I would say
when it's the Melody, sometimes has an E on it.
Or it's Melody, Melody.
Okay, got it. Good.
Great, yeah. And she has many more awards that, you know, that I didn't have. The page is not big enough to list all the awards she's received. We're just very proud of her. Let's go to the next slide and just talk about the opportunities right now. Major projects in Florida is grid modernization. That's an underground line construction, substations, telecommunications, physical and cybersecurity, smart poles, convergence of electricity, cellular, video cameras, lighting, and all housed on a light pole. Battery storage, backup energy storage using lithium batteries. Property restoration, we're looking for suppliers who can repair customer property that's damaged during maintenance. And GIS, and that's survey and mapping services.
Oh, very important. Okay, these are good.
And then the next slide just has how a supplier can register, has our website, and also how to register. And I definitely encourage everyone, if you have not, make sure that you register in our database. We, as a supply diversity team, our sourcing and procurement teams actually use that database to, you know, discover suppliers to include in bid events.
Okay, very good.
And I know folks are having to leave, so I apologize. I am ready for any questions that you have.
All right, well, let's restart our videos. And Nancy, thank you so much for steering the slideshow.
Thank you, guys.
There you are. You need to adjust your screen just a little bit, Tanja.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yes, you're on your iPad today, I know.
Yes, I'm on my iPad. One important thing that I want before everybody leaves is that Duke Energy will be hosting regional virtual outreach events during the months of June and early July. So each event will focus on regional upcoming requirements over the next 12 to 18 months. So we had one, first one ever in Florida. It was a success. And so more to come. Certainly we'll notify Diane, Nancy, Cindy, when the dates will be for Florida. And it's going to be virtual.
Oh, great.
So we're looking forward to it.
So we can wear our pajamas just like we're doing now. just to
certainly can.
We're just wearing shirts. We're just wearing shirts and no shorts. Before, because we will be losing people here very soon. Diane, I think Tanja, man, that was awesome, because I wanted to hear more about slide number 4, which was about the renewable energy projects. But we can talk about that at Go for the Greens, or, you know, Diane is asking to do more encore presentations. So I think that at some point we might, you know, kind of condense a lot of the presenters that have been here from other corporations and do that, because there's a lot of good information, especially the renewable projects, because that's all over the United States.
All over.
And it's all over the United States, so it's not just Florida specific. Diane, because I work, you know, for those of you who don't know, I'm a former UPSer, and we are very big about time. It's 3:04.
Yes, I would just like to ask 2 or 3 questions if we could do that. Would you mind?
Yeah. Before we do that, because I'm going to go back out. Diane, we're also going to have other information regarding the future presentations, so that the folks, while you do that, because I'm going to go back to blackout. But the next presentations that we're going to have are not going to be matchmakers and things like that. So before we lose all our people, I wanted to say something about that, because a lot of people are just dropping off.
Okay, good. Yes, we'll be putting out a schedule. We have the next week's is about dealing with your stress and all of this. And so we know that's going to be really helpful for our corporations, as well as our women business owners and our nonprofits. So we have a test that you can take and then deal with stress with Connie Charles. And then UPS is going to come and talk to us about doing trade, global trade, and what COVID means for global trade and the whole outlook for all of us doing business. So thank you for that commercial, Cindy. So if we could ask you just a couple questions, Tanja. We have someone who was saying, do you guys use suppliers, professional services, as well as equipment and all of that? And by professional, yeah.
Yeah, I totally, if there's something specific that she noted, but yes, we do have opportunity for professional services. That's of course not our core, but I can tell you one of the things that we're working on is in our virtual outreach events that we're going to be having, we're going to try to include our procurement and sourcing teams from our enterprise group to come and speak and talk about opportunities for professional services. They are few and far between. A lot of times we have MSP, master service providers for a lot of the professional services like staffing, and also for our real estate construction, we use a master service provider as well.
Then we had a question from Hester Clark, who said, are the policies at Duke to monitor prime suppliers and the way they use diverse subcontractors, are there some policies in place to ensure compliance? Like how does Duke monitor those tier 2 contracts?
Well, it's basically starts with our T's and C's, our terms and conditions. So when a contractor is awarded, they actually have to sign up and report to us on a quarterly or annual basis the amount of spend that they're doing on the projects, the diverse spend, and we also ask them to report local spend. And we do have, for some of the larger projects or the MSP suppliers, they have goals that they have to meet. And we have subcontracting plans and goals in place as well to ensure that they're doing business with diverse suppliers.
And then 2 more questions, real easy. Where is your IT contingent workforce handled? Is that out of North Carolina or?
No, it's actually handled through our managed service provider, MSP. Okay. Guided Global is who Duke Energy uses for all of our staffing opportunities. They manage the whole process. So there isn't anyone internal that, that would be in procurement that we would say, okay, you can go to HR for staffing. It's handled through Guided Global. I will tell you currently, there's no opportunity for staffing. We, several years ago, did what we call a RFP augmentation, and we selected staffing suppliers that could provide staffing in all areas. And so those are the core suppliers that we're using, and there isn't a contract limit there.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Well, that's good. Now I wanted to thank you so much, Tanja. I wanted to turn just for a few brief moments to Layla to tell us what's happening with the matchmakers, because that's important to all of us as well.
Hi, that was amazing, Tanja. I've been at so many events that you've had, and it's always so refreshing. The passion that you bring to this, and I'm so grateful. Thank you. I'm going to keep it really brief. I am sharing our platform website. We do have a virtual matchmaker coming out next week with Moffitt Cancer Center, Desiree, and we have a few others that we're working on with the federal government. So just keep your eye on that. A lot of you have already been in there and uploaded your business profiles. So you will be, just keep an eye on the events as they are added. And thank you. Thanks, Tanja. Really appreciate your presentation. It's really great. Also, by the way, I will add some of the things that Tanja said that she needed. I'll add those to her profile, business profile.
And Tanja, you're on mute. So.
Oh yes, thank you, Layla.
And I want to thank Layla. I want to thank Nancy Allen for helping steer the ship there, and thank Cindy Chase for all the work you're doing behind the scenes today. And Tanja, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And
I want to thank my colleague Bernice Walker.
Bernice, thank you so much, Bernice. And there she is. Hello. We got to see your picture. Now we get to see your face.
Tanja's presentation, so I was here just to be supportive of her. So
yeah, it was great.
A great job, and yeah, more to come.
Okay, and if anyone wants to save the chat, you can go down to the chat and look for the 3 little dots, and you can click on Save Chat. So that will let you save all of that meaty information and some of the links that everyone provided today. So we will be posting this on YouTube very soon. So watch out for us, and we will see you next Wednesday on our next Wednesday webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Great job. Really appreciate
Bye.
it. See you in September. See you next week on the virtual.
Thank you.
I'll try to answer those questions from the chat.
Okay, thank you, Tanja. Okay, bye, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.